All right, I think we're off and running this time. Had a little slight snafu on the first try, but hopefully this try now works. For whatever reason, I had everything set up on the first try, clicked go live, and the black screen came up and just went in a circle saying go live, and nothing showed up. At least now I can see that the we actually see something instead of a black screen. So anyway, happy Tuesday to everybody. Happy Tuesday morning, I should say, after we got past this first technical difficulty. Hopefully there will be no more technical difficulties between now and then. Hope not. But we are ready to go. Game number 304 in the American League replay, 1987, California Angels, Baltimore Orioles. Angels coming to the game 20-24. Orioles coming to the game 17-27. Two pitchers for today's game, Scott McGregor, a left-hander for the Orioles, and Mike Witt, a right-hander for the Angels. There was one roster move that the Orioles made recently, and that was a trade where they traded the outfielder John Shelby to the Los Angeles Dodgers and picked up Tom Niedenfuer, a relief pitcher. So he is in their bullpen, active for today's game. He's not very good, mind you, but he's there. He's their closer technically. 3-5, 4.99 ERA, but he's their closer, quote unquote closer. And of course, you got to have this. So, hello, Dr. D, and hello, Jeff. A little snafu the first time around, but hopefully everything now is up and running the way it should be. Let's get the game up on the computer so I can have that to score and give the stats as we go along. Tomorrow's game, we will be in, let's see, we were in Boston, we were in New York, now we're in Baltimore, so the next most eastern town will be in Toronto. Will be the Oakland A's and the Toronto Blue Jays, a good matchup with the two top teams, but the pitching matchup is a little bit lacking. It's Moose Haas for the A's against Joe Johnson for the Blue Jays, so not exactly a marquee matchup pitching-wise, but the team matchup is excellent because you got two top contending teams going at it in Toronto. That'll be tomorrow. Hopefully back to the regular 9 o'clock slot. A little bit tardy this morning, but hopefully tomorrow we'll be back at the normal 9 a.m. position. All right, so let's get Mike Witt out of the way because he's not ready to pitch yet. Scott McGregor, left-hander for the Orioles. Real world, he was 2-7 with a 6.64 earned run average. Not very good. Mixture of starting and relieving. Did I say 2-7? That's what I said. In the replays, 2-6 with a 5.77 ERA. So not too far off from that. 48 innings pitched, 54 hits, 19 walks, and 25 strikeouts. Leading off for the California Angels will be speedster Gary Pettis. Hello, Tim. Gary Pettis. Pettis on the replay is hitting 250. No homers, 14 driven in. He hit 208 real world. So he's doing much, much better. See how he does here against McGregor. He's a switch hitter, turning around bat right-handed. And underway from Memorial Stadium, 4-7. That's a single 1-14 and double die. Of course, you know it's going to come up with a low number this early on. This tape won't hold this thing down the way I like it, but oh well. So Pettis, you know he's going to be looking to run. He's got a high average there of 19. McGregor, though, a -1. He's a -1, and Kennedy's a 0, so it's a -1. But if he gets the lead, it's still a 1-16, so you know he's going to try for the lead. He's a 5 or a 6 to get that lead, and he does not get it. So that'll bring up Wally World, Wally Joyner. Joyner on the replay, hitting 331, 11 homers, 27 driven in. He hit 285 real world. 3-4, and that's a pop-up to third where Mr. Ray Knight will haul it in. One down. It's been a minute since we did an Oriole game, so glad to get the Orioles back on the channel here. Hey, Dan, yeah, I heard some about that game in Milwaukee, about some sort of chicanery or unusualness on a home run that wasn't a home run, that was a home run, that wasn't a home run, and I didn't see it. I just heard about it. All right, here's Brian Downing, designated hitter. Downing sitting 365 on the replay, really tearing it up. 13 homers, 37 driven in. Real world, he only hit 272. So again, Pettis unable to get the lead. And somebody asked me about this earlier. If you don't get the lead on this at bat, do you try for it again on this at bat? But my homebrew, or the way my philosophy, homebrew, whatever you want to call it, is if he tries for the lead once and can't get it, then I just say he can't get the lead the entire time unless he moves bases. If he goes to second, then he could try to steal third. But as long as he's at first base, I don't let him try to reestablish the lead every single time. I just do it once and that's it. I mean, people can play, like I said, you play the game the way you want to play it. That's just the way I do it. In case you're curious why I don't try for another lead, that's the reason why. And here's Downing, 6'10", and that is a ballpark single check. 1-3 though, double dies of 14, so that'll be a fly ball to center field. Freddie Lynn hauls it in, and this thing is going to irritate me to no end. So I'm going to try again with this. See if I can tape this thing down and keep it down. Doesn't want to cooperate, really. Maybe he'll do it this time. All right, so Downing, because all I'm doing is using a loose piece of paper on top of the pad, but a loose piece of paper will slide all around as I score the game, so I'm trying to tape down the corners so they stay put. That's what I'm trying to do. Hello, Chuck and Joel. Good to see you. All right, so Doug DeSensei, your batter. 199 on the replay, 5 homers, 20 driven in. He hit 234 real world. 4-7, and that's going to be a 1-14 single, but this time double dies a 16. He will line it to Ripken, and that will end the inning. So nothing doing for the California Angels here in the first. They get the leadoff single from Pettis, but nothing else. We go to the bottom of the first. Angels, nothing. Orioles coming to bat against Mike Witt, and now even the new piece of tape's not going to want to hold. All right, Mike Witt, 16-14, 401 in real world. Replays 4-2 with a 4.39, 68 innings pitched, 64 hits, 18 walks, and 67 strikeouts. Mike Witt, I believe, in this season was 3 years removed from pitching a perfect game. Well, he's with Texas with California rather. In 1984, last game of the season, I believe, in Texas, he pitched a complete game. I've noticed that, Tim. I just see that in the chat. Everybody's got the @ sign in front of them. What's the deal with that? Is that something new that YouTube is doing? Because it's not anything I'm doing on my end, that's for sure. I don't know what the reasoning is for that, but it is. I just noticed that is kind of weird. That's the case. I don't know if they've got something new going on or what, but it's YouTube, so who knows? All right, bottom of the first. Oh, and programming note, 9 o'clock tonight, Game 6 of the 1978 World Series in season ticket baseball. They've traveled back to L.A., so it's the Yankees and the Dodgers. Ron Guidry against Tommy John, Game 6. Yankees must win. They were down 3-1. They won Game 5 in going away fashion at Yankee Stadium. Now they're traveling west, and they've got to win to force a Game 7. There was no Game 7 in real world, so if there is a Game 7, I will most likely just take the Game 3 lineups and starting pitchers and just transfer them over to a Game 7, figuring that's what they would have used. So, all right. So Lee Lacy is going to bat against Mike Witt on the replay. Lee Lacy is hitting 286, 3 homers, 7 driven in. He at 244 real world. It's a 3-7, and he's going to strike out. First strikeout, of course, for Witt. First batter face, struck him out. Orioles really struggled to find a leadoff hitter all year long in 1987, and they tried Alan Wiggins. They tried different people. Now they're trying Lee Lacy, so they're just trying to find whatever they can find, I guess, is the question here. Cal Ripken Sr. just trying to do what he can do. All right, here's Jim Dwyer hitting 276 on the replay, 6 homers, 12 driven in. He at 274 real world. He is the designated hitter. 2-5, and he will strike out. So this time, back-to-back strikeouts to start the game for Mike Witt. 2 quick outs for Cal Sr., or Cal Jr., rather. Cal Sr. was playing would have a scoop. This is Cal Jr. He's hitting 258 on the replay, 7 homers, 24 driven in. He hit 252 real world. It's a 1-5, and that's a ground ball to third, and DeSensei, the former Oriole, will take it. And over to Joyner in the quick 1-2-3 inning go the Orioles in their half of the first. So we go to the second, no score from Memorial Stadium. Oh, cool. Hey, Kathy, we have a movie emoji trivia in the top of the third. So get your movie trivia emoji knowledge in your brains and see if you can try to figure out what that's going to be. We start at the top of the second. Devon White, right fielder, 276 average on the replay, 8 homers, 26 driven in. He hit 263 real world, so 276 isn't that far off. 3-7 against the lefty, and he's going to strike out. So first strikeout for McGregor. And there's one away for Dick Schofield. Schofield, the shortstop, hitting 245, 2 homers, 16 driven in. He hit 251 real world. And then one die got hung up, so let's try that again. I don't know why it's getting hung up in the dice tower. It's really weird. All right, 5-7, right-handed. 5-7's ground ball, second base X. That's Burleson. He's a 4 E18. Not the best second. They really had trouble with second base as well. They tried Wiggins. They tried Burleson. They didn't really solve it until Billy Ripken gets called up, but that's going to be a little bit while longer before Billy Ripken comes up. So the 4 E18. And the double die comes up early, a 4-2. That's a base hit. 4-2 is a SI2, but nobody's on base. That's an 8, and he is an E18. E18. There is no 8, but it is going to be a base hit for Dick Schofield. As Rick Burleson unable to get to it thanks to the double die. So Schofield needs a 4 or a 5 to get the lead. Doesn't get it, so he will hold. And here comes the left fielder, Darryl Miller. He's also the backup catcher. Darryl Miller on the replay hitting 240, 3 homers, 13 driven in. He hit 241 real world. 210, and that's a ground ball shortstop A. Ripken to Burleson to Murray. A tailor-made 6-4-3 double play. And like I said, I still think there's a tailor shop out there that's missing a marketing opportunity to sponsor the tailor-made double play of the game. But if I ever do another fictional set, I will definitely include that in my advertising. All right, so that's going to do it for the Angels. We go to the bottom of the second. Mike Witt will be taking on Eddie Murray. Eddie E. Drinkin' B. Murray. He's hitting 324 on the replay, 10 homers, 28 driven in. He hit 277 real world. 5-3, switcher to batting left is a fly ball left field X. We're looking at Miller. He's a 3E7. 3E7. 3-16, he'll get to that. The E7 and a 10. There usually aren't too many errors on a 10. E7 and a 10. Nope, you got to, in the outfield, to have an outfield error and a 10, you've got to be really bad. You got to be up to an E19 to start thinking about errors with 10s. So Miller makes the play. Hey, Jeremiah, sorry about the snafu in the first one. The computer kind of bugged out on me. I hit click live, and all I got was a black screen with a circle saying going live, and I sat there for about 2 minutes. And I finally figured out that it wasn't going to fix itself, so I had to shut it down and redo it. And luckily, it came back on the way it should. Don't know what happened the first time. It was really weird. All right, here's Freddie Lynn. He's hitting 208 on the replay, 8 homers, 19 driven in, hit 253 real world. So he's kind of off to a rough start so far. 6-10 for Witt. That's a ballpark blast. Memorial Stadium's an 11. Double die is a 2. It's gone. Fred Lynn, home run. Look at it again, 6-10. 6-10 is a ballpark blast. 1-11 in Memorial Stadium, and the double die is a 2. Home run, Freddie Lynn. That's a way to break out of a slump. For Lynn, that is his 9th home run of the replay. RBI number 20. Real world, he had 23 home runs. So Orioles on the board on the Fred Lynn homer. And that'll bring up Ray Knight. Otherwise formerly known as Nancy Lopez's worst half. And he's hitting .214 on the replay. 4 homers, 13 driven in. 4-8, and that's a 1-6 double. 18, he'll settle for a single. So a base hit for Ray Knight. He runs at an 8. He's one of the slowest runners in the league, so he's not going anywhere. And that'll bring up Terry Kennedy, the catcher. Kennedy hit .232 on the, or is hitting .232 on the replay. 11 homers, 25 driven in. He at .250 real world. 6-9, and that's going to be a single to center field. So they're starting to get to Witt here at the bottom of the order. Knight, of course, runs like molasses, so he will stop at second base. First and second, 1 out for the left fielder Larry Sheets. Sheets hitting .294 on the replay. 7 homers, 14 driven in. He at .316 real world. Not sure why they got him down the 8th position. I'd have had him up higher than that, but that's the way that Cal Sr. decided to do it, as these are as-played lineups. 5-6, and that's a strikeout. Larry Sheets, his 3rd strikeout for Witt. 2 down. And that'll take us to the number 9 man, Rick Burleson. Burleson hitting .182 on the replay. No homers and a run driven in. He hit .209 real world. Nothing on the havoc. 4-10. And that's an in-home run chance, 1-7. That's a 9, so that'll switch to a double. So Rick Burleson comes through with a double. Even Ray Knight can score from second on a double. And Kennedy's not very fast either. He runs at a 9. Not being held makes him a 10. 2 outs makes him a 12. The double went to center field. So Pettis is a +1 arm. So do they try to send Kennedy? He's a 9. Not being held makes him a 10. 2 outs makes him a 12. +1's a 13. They're going to send him 1-13. So it's a 1-13 chance for Kennedy to score. And he's in there. So it's a 2-run double from Rick Burleson. How do you like that? And Burleson, since he does not run at a 13 or higher, cannot take third. That's my rule. My rule is you got to have 13 or higher speed to take that extra base on the overthrow. So he's going to stay at second. But it's a 2-run double off the bat of Rick Burleson. And the Orioles lead it 3-0 as they're starting to get to Mike Witt all of a sudden. And that brings up the top of the order in Lee Lacy. That is correct. He did not have the end power, so he got a better break by going to the double. Sometimes that happens. Here's Lacy. 2-2, and that's a ballpark single check. 1-3. This is going to be a foul out to Bob Boone to end the inning, but the Orioles strike for 3 runs. Led off by the Fred Lynn homer and capped off by the Rick Burleson double. At the end of 2 complete, it is the Orioles 3 and the Angels nothing. If you now direct your attention to the chat box, Kathy will have a movie emoji trivia question for us, and we will see if we can figure this thing out without too many hints. Somebody's bound to get it without too many hints. We got some good movie No, Jeff, he did not get hurt in the prior game. Bobby Witt for Texas may have gotten hurt, but that injuries in this game, in this league, are only, or in this replay, are only game-only injuries, not because I use as-played lineups. Not like the Demolition League where a guy can get hurt for who knows how long. So movie trivia coming up. A movie emoji trivia, I should say. All right, here we go. Movie. Oh, hit hard in the prior game. My bad. Let's see here. Italian Stallion. Yeah, it's got to be Rocky because it's Italian Stallion. Italian flag and a stallion emoji. So it's got to be something to do with Rocky. I don't know if it's Rocky or Rocky 2. I'm assuming it's just plain old Rocky. So I think Dan was the first one to jump in on that one. Jeremiah is Rocky 2. So I'm not sure if there was, like 5 Rockies or something. I know I think there was at least 5 Rockies. I'm not sure if they went past 5. I know they split off and did Apollos and stuff like that, but think of the original Rocky series, the Rocky. And most people didn't like it, but I thought Rocky 4 was the best of the Rockies myself. The one with Drago and going to Russia and all that. I thought that was my favorite Rocky out of all of them, where he goes and trains in Russia and stuff like that. And they showed a contrast of Drago training on all the sophisticated equipment, and here's Rocky out there in a smokehouse, doing jabbing, big hunks of beef or whatever, and then running in the snow and all that stuff. I thought to me, that was my favorite one. But everybody had their favorite, I'm sure. All right, so Bob Boone will lead off. Thank you, Kathy, for that emoji trivia. So Bob Boone, top of the third, he's hitting 174 on the replay. No homers, 3 driven in. He hit 242 real world. 2-7 against the left-hander. That's a ground ball to short. And that's 1 away. All right, here's Mark McLemore, second baseman. Switch hitter. He's hitting 245 on the replay. 3 homers, 19 driven in. He hit 236. Real world. Well, my voice is kind of going there. 2-6, left-handed, is going to be a base on balls. First walk issued by McGregor. And McLemore will be looking to test the waters on stealing the base. Needs a 4 or a 6 to get the good lead. 4, 5, or 6, rather. And he gets the good lead, so he's got an 18 being held as a 16. McGregor a -1 for a 15. So a 1 to 15, he will steal it. Kennedy's T rating is only a 2, so there's not much of a risk to throw down. 1 to 15. And he's in there. Stolen base from McLemore. So McLemore will steal the base. So he's in scoring position with 1 out for the top of the order, and Gary Pettis. Pettis singled his first time up. That's a 4-3, switch hitter batting right-handed. That's a fly ball left field X. Larry Sheets, a 4-E-8. Not the best left fielder in the world, for sure. And a 5 double die is going to probably come back to bite him. 4 and a 5 is going to be a single 2 stars, I bet. And it sure is. Single 2 stars. That will score the run for McLemore to take the lead. Now we'll check on an error. That's an 8, and he's an E8. I don't think that's a problem. It is not, but it's going to drop in front of Larry Sheets for a RBI single. Cuts the lead to 3-1. Also puts Gary Pettis on first. We can try to get a good lead to steal a base himself. Needs a 5 or a 6, doesn't get it, so he'll hold. And here comes Wally World. 1-7, and that's a ground ball, second base A. It's a 4-6-3, another tailor-made double play to end the inning. When you can't get the steal there, you're susceptible to double play. I mean, Joyner could have bunted, I guess, but there's already 1 out. Plus, are you really going to have your number 3 hitter that hits 34 home runs in a season? You're really going to have him bunt? I really don't think you're going to do that. But as it turns out, it is a 4-6-3 double play. We go to the bottom of the third. Mike Witt back out. Will face Dwyer, Ripken, and Murray for the Orioles. We have another movie emoji trivia in the top of the 5th, so be ready for that one. I'm assuming the answer will not be Rocky 2. I don't think she's doing all the Rocky ones, but a movie trivia of some sort. All right, 1-3 for Dwyer. That is a ballpark single check. 1-3. That's not going to work, so that's going to be a line out to second base. 1 away for Eddie Murray. Murray grounded to Sensei his first time up. I'm sorry, it's Ripken, not Murray. Murray comes up next. Ripken the batter. 5-7, ground ball shortstop X. This time he's going to try Schofield. 2E12 for Schofield. 2-16 is good. And that's a 13, and he's an E12 at short. There is no 13, so Schofield rifles one over to first for out number 2. Always wanted to say that because I do believe there's a Schofield rifle brand of some sort. I'm not a gun aficionado by any means, but I think I've heard that term before. The biggest rifle I know about is the one in Christmas Story, where he's going to poke his eye out or something. Or here's Eddie Murray, or shoot his eye out, or whatever they call it. 3-7, and that's going to be a strikeout. Murray down on strikes. I'm sorry, I went to the wrong page here, down this way. Murray out on strikes number 4. So that's going to end the inning. Very easy 1-2-3 inning turned in by Mike Witt. And at the end of 3, it's still 3-1 Orioles. Still hanging on to the lead. And for those that came in late, the Orioles completed their trade with the Dodgers, and they now have Tom Niedenfuer in their bullpen. Not that he's anything great, but he's there. Just so you're aware, he is there. So if you see him come to the game, you say, where did he come from? He was part of the John Shelby trade, where they traded Shelby to the Dodgers. There may have been some minor leaguers or something involved as well, but those are the 2 main participants in the trade. All right, here's Brian Downing to start it off here in the top of the 4th. It's a 5-5, and that's going to be a ground ball. I'm sorry, 6-5. 5-5 is going to be a walk. So Brian Downing, leadoff walk. He's not really a threat to steal, so they won't hold him on. That'll bring up Doug DeCinces. DeCinces, his first time up, line to Ripken. I believe on a failed ballpark check. 2-4. And this is a line out right to his countermate, Rick Burleson. So first he lines to short. Now he lines to second. 1 away. And here is Devon White. White struck out his first chance. That's a 6-8 switch hitter batting right-handed. 6-8 is going to be a single to left field. So Downing, with the ball hit to left field, will only get the 1 base. He's not going to be foolish and risk anything. So first and second, now the tying runs are on base for Dick Schofield. Schofield singled his first time up. 1-9, and that's going to be a trouble for McGregor. 1-9, 1-5 is a double. That's a 17 to be a single 2 stars. Scoring from second is Downing to make it a 3-2 game. White, with his speed, he will take third. So runners are at the corners. A run is in. It's down to a 3-2 lead. And McGregor in a little bit of trouble. Schofield looking to get the lead, needs a 4 or a 5. Doesn't get it, so he'll hold for Darryl Miller, the catcher. Infield back for the double play. Double play gets him out of the inning. They've already turned 2 double plays, and they turned a double play the last 2 innings, so they're looking to do it for a 3rd straight inning against Darryl Miller, who hit into a double play his first time up. 3-7, and this time he will strike out. So strikeout number 2 for McGregor. He was hoping for the double play, but I think he'll take the strikeout. That makes it 2 away in a clutch situation for Bob Boone. So now Bob Boone has to come through. In the clutch, Bob Boone loses a hit on 2-4 and 3-7. Three-5 instead is a pop out to second, and that's going to end it. Angels only get 1 run. They were looking for more. They only got the 1, so the Orioles maintain the lead, albeit now down to 3-2. But it's still the lead nonetheless. So we go to the bottom of the 4th. It'll be Mike Witt. And don't forget, we got the trivia question after this half inning is over. Another movie emoji trivia question. Fred Lynn, Ray Knight, and Terry Kennedy are your scheduled hitters. Lynn hit the home run his first time up. 1-5, and that's a single to center field. So Fred Lynn, 2 for 2. Trying to get that average going. Doing a good job of it right now. Actually, he's got an asterisk. This is interesting. He has an asterisk here, which means if they don't hold him on, he's going to get that automatic good lead because of the asterisk. So they will hold him on. Mike Witt, though, is a -5 hold, so he's not going to try anything, but they will hold Fred Lynn on for Ray Knight. That's a 3-9, and that's going to be a 1-18 single. That's a 17. It barely fit, but it did. It's a 1-star single, and here come the Orioles. Mike Witt running into some trouble here. Now we got Terry Kennedy, the catcher. He singled his last time up. Orioles have already had 6 hits in this game. We're only in the beginning to the 4th inning. 5-4. Ballpark single. 1-3. That's an 11, so that will be a fly to center. 1 away. And I know everybody is out there saying, no, it's supposed to be a line out to second base or whatever, but when the outs don't affect the base running, I take the original out just to give me some variety. That's just a house rule for me. So, you get too many line outs and too many to short and second for my taste, so I try to mix it up. Had that been, something where it would have been an A or something that would have moved the runners, then I would have defaulted back to the line out. But since it's a fly ball C, no harm, no foul there. Nobody moves up. So here's Larry Sheets. 2-7 for Sheets, and that's a strikeout. Larry Sheets out on strike. Strikeout number 5 for Witt. And now down to Rick Burleson. You think maybe he's going to get out of the inning because Rick Burleson's such a weak hitter, but Burleson had the 2-run double first time up. Burleson, real season, 209 hitter. So, but you catch it right on the dice, you can do some damage. It's a 2-9, and that's going to be a line out to second base, snagged over there by McLemore to end the inning. So the 2 leadoff singles to start the inning do not come around to score. We've completed 4 at Memorial Stadium. Orioles lead the Angels by the score of 3-2. And now if you would direct your attention to the chat box, and Miss Kathy has a second movie emoji trivia question to challenge our brains and our visual arts and everything else. Remember, it is movie related, movie title related. Okay, boy, this is interesting. A lot of emojis here. Wow. That one I don't have any clue. Somebody's going to have to answer that one because I don't have any clue on that one. Don't have a clue. The Sound of Music, Pulp Fiction, Dirty Dancing, all kinds of clues here, or guesses, I should say. We might need a hint on this. I don't know. Let's see. I'm not even going to guess because I have no idea. Footloose is another guess. Tribe Fan got it with Dirty Dancing. Wow. Good play there, Tim. Wait a minute, Tim. What's going on here? What's going on? What happened to Tim? What happened to Clee Baseball Fan? Did you change your name back to Tribe Fan? Because you were Tribe Fan for so long, and then you went to Clee Baseball Fan. Now you're back as Tribe Fan. So I don't know. I just noticed that. I always call you Tribe Fan anyway. But even with the @ sign in front of it, it's kind of, I noticed that. So the House by the Lake did it. Okay. There you go. All right. Here is Mark McLemore. McLemore leading off the top of the 5th against McGregor. McLemore walked, stole a base, and scored first time up. That's a 2-3, and that's a fly ball to left where left fielder Larry Sheets will put that away. 1 down for the top of the order, and Gary Pettis. Pettis is 2 for 2, a couple of singles, but he hasn't been able to get a lead to steal yet. But he's gotten on base twice. 2-6, 1-4 is a double. He'll do it again. Double die gives him a 2. So that'll be a double. He won't have to worry about stealing second. He's already there. It's a double for Gary Pettis, the tying run now in scoring position. They will hold Gary Pettis on second base because he runs at a 17, and they got to try to keep him from scoring on a base hit. Here's Wally Joyner. That's a 1. So McGregor, wild pitch rating for McGregor is a 7. His balk is a 19. So 1-7 for a wild pitch. He will not throw the wild pitch as Kennedy was able to block it. And now here's Joyner. We get a 4-6, and that's a strikeout for McGregor. Big strikeout there. Strikeout number 3. Now there's out number 2. And now it's all up to Brian Downing in a clutch situation to come through to tie the game for the Angels. In the clutch against lefties, he loses 2 hits. 2-5 and 2-6 are going to be turned into outs. We get a 1-7 instead. That's not going to be an out. 1-15 is a double. That's a 20, so it's a single 2 stars. Still good enough to score Pettis, and we get a tie game at 3. RBI single for Brian Downing. Pettis races around to score to tie the game at 3. And that brings up to Sensei. This is McGregor's fatigue inning, so he's one batter away from being fatigued. So he's trying to hold on and at least complete the inning. 3-8, and that's a walk. That's going to make him fatigued. Let's see if they want to keep him in there to face White. But he is now fatigued. So the dots will come into play, but they're gonna stick with him against the switch hitting Devon White. They do have action in their bullpen. Let's go to their bullpen. It's not Niedenfuhr because it's too early for Niedenfuhr. But we'll look and see who they have available. They do have Dave Schmidt, Mark Williamson, a couple of right-handers there. Also have Ken Dixon, a right-hander. The only lefty they have is Jack O'Connor. So we're looking at Mark Williamson. He is loosening in the Oriole bullpen as we speak. In case McGregor can't get out of the inning, they will bring in Mark Williamson. He has a fatigue of 3. He can give him several innings. So Devon White, let's see what he can do against McGregor. If we get the dots, and McGregor against right-handers, he has 2 dots here on the 6 and the 5. 2-6, 5-6, and 6-5. If he can avoid those 2, then the fatigues, and also 6-12. There's 3 dots there, actually. So he's got to avoid those 3 areas. There's White, 2-7, and he struck out White to end the inning. And that's going to probably do it right there for McGregor. I think they're going to cap him there. So McGregor will go the 5 innings, giving up the 3 runs. Total of 7 hits. And let's see, he walked. Well, you know what? I'll let the computer do the heavy lifting. I'm not going to worry about that. We'll go to the computer and let the computer save my brain from having to do any math. They promised there'd be no math. All right, so McGregor, 3 earned runs, 3 walks, 4 strikeouts. If the Orioles come back and take the lead and keep it in this inning, he would qualify for the win. Otherwise, he will get a no decision. And in the 6th inning, Mark Williamson will be the new Oriole pitcher. As he's still in the bullpen loosening up, he can go 3 innings if he has to. +2 on the hold rating, though. So Williamson will be the new pitcher for the Orioles in the 6th. Now, one more trivia in the top of the 6th before Williamson starts his outing. And no throwing tomatoes or anything like that. So at whatever the emoji turns out to be. Here's Mike Witt. His fatigue is a 7th inning, so he's still good to go. 3-3 tie now. The Angels have clawed their way back and tied this game. Now it's up to Mike Witt to maintain that. Here's Lee Lacy. He's 0 for 2, 1-7. Now he draws a leadoff walk. Not what you want if you're Mike Witt. You don't want to walk the leadoff guy. That's usually bad news. It's his first walk of the game, and he picked a bad spot to do it. Lacy will be held, but he won't go anywhere. Here's Jim Dwyer. Dwyer's also 0 for 2. That's a 5-6, and that's going to be a strikeout, a big strikeout there for Witt, his 6th strikeout. But now he's got to deal with the heart of the order, Ripken and Murray. Ripken and Murray. That looks like the Hateful Eight. I don't know if that's the right one or whether you want to do a different one. But I was thinking of that Tarantino movie, Hateful Eight, but I don't know if that's right or not. All right, here is Cow, and yeah, I've hit the button early before myself. So here's Ripken. Nothing there. 110, and that's going to be a ballpark blast. 1-11, but that's a 12. Boy, he just missed it. Ripken just missed hitting a 2-run homer. But Miller will field it at the warning track for out number 2. Oh, it was not Hateful Eight. Okay. Saw an 8-ball. That's what made me think that. Well, it gives people time to. Do you want to stick with that, Kathy, or make a different trivia, or just go with it right now? We can go with it right now if you like. Since it's out there, people can start guessing. Deadpool. Okay, that's another one. Here's Eddie Murray. We can do the trivia while we're playing. It's no big deal. 5'10", switch hitter batting left is a catcher X. That's going to be Boone. He's a 1E14. Tri-Fan got it again. Wow. All right. Let's see. It's a 3. He's a 1, though, so I don't think that's going to be a problem for a catcher. 1 and a 3 is a W/G. Well, that could be a wild pitch. That's a 12, and he is an E14. No 14 there. But W/G is probably a wild pitch. Yeah, wild pitch. So it will be a wild pitch on Mike Witt. And that will move Lacey into scoring position with 2 outs. That could be big. Now just a regular base hit will give the Orioles the lead. Don't need the extra base hit. As Lacey, pretty decent speed, runs at a 16, so very good speed. As long as you get a 1-star single, you're probably going to score. Here's Eddie Murray stepping in again. 2-7, and that's a walk. So Murray will walk. Second walk of the inning for Witt. He's waited till this 6th inning or 5th inning to do both his walks. And that brings up Fred Lynn in a clutch situation. He will gain a hit on 2-2. Everywhere else, he's neutral. 1 on Mike Witt. His wild pitch rating's a 5. No wild pitch. Freddie Lynn, 3-6, struck him out. A big strikeout there for Witt, his 7th. And that keeps the game tied at 3 apiece. So 2 walks and 2 strikeouts in the inning for Mike Witt. Kind of a topsy-turvy inning for him. And we go to the top of the 6th, and new pitcher for the Orioles is Mark Williamson. In real world, he was 8-9 with a 4.03 earned run average. And we'll get his numbers on the replay for Mark Williamson, right-hander. On the replay for Williamson, he is 3-1 with 4 saves, a 3.05 earned run average. 41 innings pitched, 34 hits, 7 walks, 24 strikeouts. So Williamson's first at bat to face is Dick Schofield. 2-7 for Schofield. 1-8's a single. That's a 9, so that will be a line out to Ripken. 1 away. It's either 9 or it's an 11. They're kind of both there at the same time, but we'll go with the 9 because that looks like that's the more. That's the side showing the best. So that'll bring up Darryl Miller, left fielder. Kind of, even if you wanted to pinch hit for Miller, you'd be in a bind though because he's the backup catcher. So if you pinch hit for Miller with a lefty, you'd have nobody to back up Bob Boone. So they're going to have to stick with Miller in left field. 4-9, and he pops it up to short. That's 2 away. That's the danger of playing your backup catcher as a DH or any other position is if you take him out, then you don't have anybody left. Here's Boone. 5-6, and that's a strikeout for Williamson. So 1-2-3 inning for Mark Williamson. And we go to the bottom of the 6th, still tied at 3. And this will be the fatigue inning for Mike Witt. There will be a 7th inning stretch because I have to heat my coffee. Coffee has gotten not cold, but very, very lukewarm, as they say, and I like to have warm coffee. Hello, Triple G. Here's Ray Knight. It'll be Knight, Kennedy, and Sheets against Witt. This is Witt's, no, I'm sorry, next inning is Witt's fatigue inning. 4-3, righty. Ground ball pitcher X. Witt is a 3, E18. 3 and a 5, that's iffy. Double die rolled over to 5 at the last minute. 3 and a 5 for a pitcher. 3 and a 5. Hey, we'll get to it with a G3. That is a 6, and he is an E18. There's no 6 there, so Witt will make the play. And there's one away. So even though it's not a marquee matchup, sometimes these kind of games give you the good games, which we have now, 3-3. Here's Kennedy, 6-7. That's going to be a base on balls. 3rd walk by Mike Witt. All of a sudden, he's got a streak of wildness in him as he has walked his 3rd batter in 2 innings. And here's Larry Sheets. Of course, none of these players for the Orioles right now have any speed, so not worried about stealing bases. 2-7 for Sheets, and that's a strikeout. But it seems like every time he's walked a batter, he comes back with a strikeout. He's had 3 walks. The following batters have struck out all 3 times. So he's followed up the walk with a strikeout. So 2 down, and here's Rick Burleson. Can't pinch hit for Rick Burleson. By my rule, we cannot do it because we're not in the 7th inning yet. And there has not been a pitching change. So Rick Burleson will have to hit, although he did have a 2-run double back in the 2nd inning. That's a 2-10, and he's going to pop it up to Sensei at 3rd to end the inning. So we go to the 7th inning, tied at 3. And Williamson, whose fatigue is a 3 for relief. He's also started a few games, so he's got a relief of 3. So he's only faced 3 batters in 1 inning, so he's definitely good to go for a while. Here's Mark McLemore. Start at the top of the 7th. 6-5, switch hitter batting left. That's trouble. 1-7 is a triple. That's a 6. So Mark McLemore leads off with a leadoff triple. In the season, McLemore had 3 triples. On the replay, that's his 3rd triple right there. This one coming off the batter card, though. So 3 triples now for Mark McLemore. And now the infield's going to come in for Gary Pettis. That's a 1-6 for Pettis, and he's going to hit a fly ball center field B, question mark. So this is potentially a sacrifice fly, and it's probably a good chance for it as well. McLemore runs at a 16. When you do a fly ball center field B, you add 2 to the run rating, which makes him an 18. Fred Lynn's a 0 arm. So 1-18, he scores. He's only out on a 19 or 20. 16, he's in there. So it's a sacrifice fly for Gary Pettis. McLemore will score it, and the Angels have come back to take the lead 4-3. Gary Pettis comes through with a sacrifice fly. And the Angels take a 4-3 lead. Here's Wally Joyner. 2-6 for Joyner, and that's a ballpark blast. 1-11, that's a 19, so Williamson caught a break there. Just a deep fly out to right field where Lee Lacy puts it away. 2 down for Brian Downing. So Mark Williamson on the hook for the loss now if the game ends just like this. 5-8, and that's a strikeout for Williamson to end the inning. But the triple by McLemore, sacrifice fly by Pettis, had given the Angels a 4-3 lead as we go to the 7th inning stretch. It will be Mike Witt's fatigue inning as he has a 7 right there for fatigue. At the top of the order for the Orioles, Lacy, Dwyer, and Ripken, so you're not going to pinch hit for any of those guys. But it is now time for 2 things to happen. 1, 7th inning stretch, so you can sing "Take Me Out to the Ball Game." But even more importantly, is heating the coffee, because you have to have your priorities straight. And coffee takes a very, very high priority. You see, I need to refresh this cup with a brand new cup of coffee because I'm almost done with it, and it's definitely in the lukewarm territory. So, 7th inning stretch time. Take a stretch with me if you like. Sing "Take Me Out to the Ball Game" if you like. I'll be back in about 45 seconds after you listen to "Take Me Out to the Ball Game." All right, we are back from the 7th inning stretch. It was good for me to stretch around probably. And we are ready to go. But first things first, let me move this out of the way just temporarily. And what I have here is my coffee. But you'll notice it's awful dark. Well, it's because I haven't fixed it up yet. So I was going to show you guys how I do my coffee. I take 2 of these. They're the Walmart version of Equal. So I take 2 of those, plow them in there, because I like a little coffee with my cream and sugar. So we got 2 of these in there. Then I have my International Delight Southern Butter Pecan. That is my choice, my, what do you call it? My creamer of choice, so to speak. Southern Butter Pecan International Delight. That's what I like to use. International Delight Southern Butter Pecan. I do have a napkin here to clean up the mess, so don't worry about that. So put a little shot of Southern Butter Pecan in there. Get a little coloring to it. I love the sound of the spoon stirring the coffee too. That's almost a Strat Zen by itself, you could say. All right, so let me get my napkin here, because we did have a little bit of excess on the table. I don't want it to get on the cards. So we'll just clean that up a little bit. And we're ready to go. But at least now you see the genesis of my coffee experience, what I go through. And now we can get back to the other business at hand, which is Strat-O-Matic. So, but just thought that might be interesting for you guys to see that. Not sure if it was or not, but there you go. Oh, wait a minute. Chuck's got a trivia question. It looks like a Netflix. I don't get Netflix, so I don't know. Is that a Mercedes or something? I have no idea what that is, Chuck. I have no idea what that is. Maybe somebody else knows. I don't subscribe to Netflix, so I don't know what series that would be, but someone probably will know, or even if they don't subscribe to Netflix, they might know it by the clues. Who knows? Is that a peace sign? Oh, it's a peace sign. I was thinking it was Mercedes, like the Mercedes things. All right, it's peace something or other, so I don't know. On my phone, the emojis come up really, really small, so, and my eyes aren't that good. But like I said, I don't get Netflix, so I don't know what the series is. But anyway, we are back at it. Lee Lacy to start the bottom of the seventh. Let me make sure that everything is still in view. It looks like it is, even after the coffee interruption. But I think a coffee interruption is worthwhile myself. All right, Lee Lacy will lead things off, and this is the fatigue inning for Mike Witt. 4-3 Angels now. They've come all the way back from 3-0 deficit to take the lead with single runs in the third, fourth, fifth, and seventh innings. 6-5 for Witt is a fly to left. Lee Lacy will fly out to Miller, one away, and that'll bring up Jim Washer and Dwyer. He's 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts. That's a 5-9 for the left-hander. That's a fly to center. Now he's 0 for 4. So Mike Witt seems to be rejuvenated after getting the lead. Just had that one bad inning. And that'll bring up Cal Ripken. 1-2 for Ripken. He fouls it out to Bob Boone, and Mike Witt will keep full endurance into the 8th inning. He gave up nothing. So we have full endurance into the 8th inning. So one thing I forgot to do, usually I do it in the 7th inning stretch area, is programming updates, if you want to call it that. So tonight at roughly 9 o'clock will be game number 6 of the 1978 World Series on season ticket baseball. Yankees at the Dodgers. Ron Guidry against Tommy John. That'll be the matchup tonight. Tomorrow morning, hopefully back to the 9 o'clock, not the 9:15 that I had today. A little snafu with the computer, so hopefully it's back to 9 o'clock. It'll be Oakland at Toronto. It'll be north of the border at Exhibition Stadium in Toronto. Battle of 2 first-place teams. Toronto's trying to catch. Is technically tied with Milwaukee for first place, but Oakland's in first place in the West. So here's the Sensei against Williamson. This is Williamson's fatigue inning. It's his 3rd inning of work. 1-7 for the Sensei, struck him out. So a strikeout for Mark Williamson. 1 away for Devon White. .38, and that is going to be a 1-13 single. That's a 10 base hit for Devon White. I'm the same with you, Dan. Most of I watch a few things on regular, commercial TV. Like I enjoy the Chicago PD show on NBC, but very little else. So, and maybe some, ball games that are on different channels, baseball and football games. But other than that, it's pretty much YouTube. All right, so here's Dick Schofield. Although White, I moved him too quickly because he has a chance to obtain a lead. 3 through 6, he can get the lead. Williamson's a +2 hold, so that makes it even better for Devon White if he can get this lead. And he does, so he will steal it, or at least attempt to steal it. He's an 18, being held as a 16, but the +2 is back to a 18 again. 1-18, and he's in there with the stolen base for Devon White. So he gets to second base with only 1 out. And that'll bring up Dick Schofield, the shortstop, who's 2 for 3, is Schofield. For Devon White, that was stolen base number 5. He's only been caught once. So he's 5 out of 6 in steals attempts during the replay. He's in scoring position for Schofield with 1 out. 2-6, and that's going to be a ground ball shortstop B, so the runner will hold. 2 down. Did we ever get an answer to his trivias, I guess is the question. I don't know if we ever did. Or maybe people are still guessing. I'm not sure. Here's Daryl Miller. Clutch situation from Miller, and in the clutch, he will lose a hit on 110. Everything else he's neutral. That's a 410, not a 110. 410's a fly to center X, but that's Fred Lynn. He's a 3E3. 3 to 7 should get to that, I would think. 3 and a 7. He barely does F1. How about that? He barely gets there. That's a 13, and he's an E3, so that's not a problem. So Fred Lynn snow cones it, makes the catch to end the inning. We go to the bottom of the 8th. Still 4-3 California. Mike Witt coming back out with full endurance. And actually, Williamson will come back. Might come back out. Actually, you know what? They're going to have Tom. They're going to bring in Tom Niedenfuhr in the 9th, make his debut. So we'll cut Williamson off at the 3 innings. And he's going to give up. Let's go to the computer and get his numbers. So he gave up the 1 run, the triple from McLemore and the sac fly from Pettis, but other than that, he pitched very well. 3 innings, 2 hits, and a run. That's normally good enough to get you a win, but in this case, he might be stuck with a loss. So Mike Witt comes in to pitch the bottom of the 8th. He has full endurance since he gave up nothing. And he'll be facing Murray, Lynn, and Knight for the Orioles. 2-8 for Murray. He's going to ground it to second. McLemore makes the play. 1 down. And the way California's bullpen blew the last game, Witt might want to finish this one himself. Here's Fred Lynn. 5-4, and that's a ballpark single check. 1-3, that's an 18, so the fly to center will hold. 2 down for Ray Knight. Whoa, we got hop and dice. Let's re-roll that. 4-2, and that's a ground ball shortstop X. We're looking at Schofield, a 2E12 for Schofield. 2 and a 4, that's trouble. Possibly. Nope, 2 and a 4 is a G3. He'll get to it. That's a 12, and he is an E12. So a 12 and a 12. Don't think that'll be a problem. It is not. So it's going to be a base hit. Oh, the Diplomat. Okay, like I said, I don't watch Netflix, so I did not know there was a series named that. But thank you for the trivia. Maybe somebody will Google the Diplomat and find out what kind of show it is, even though we don't get it on Netflix, or we don't get Netflix. So used to be a thing you could share Netflix, and I think they're kind of cracking down on that now. So too many other things out there streaming, I guess, for a lot of people to want to get Netflix. It's personal choice, just like any Peacock or anything else. So. All right, so we go to the top of the 9th, and Tom Niedenfuhr will be making his Oriole debut since coming over from the Dodgers. So obviously he has no one-loss record or any kind of record in the replay because it's his first game. So Niedenfuhr comes in, and he is in the real season, he was 3-5 with a 4.99 ERA and 13 saves. So we'll see what he can do here against Bob Boone. All right, Bob Boone, the batter, against Niedenfuhr. 4-8, and that's a strikeout. So Niedenfuhr starts his Oriole debut with a strikeout. How about that? And that'll bring up Mark McLemore. Had that big triple his last time up. 4-8 switch hitter. That's a single. So McLemore, another base hit. And he already has stolen 1 base today. He might be looking to do it again. Niedenfuhr is that +2 hold. So if he gets the lead, he's going to have a good chance at it. That's a 9, though. He will not get the lead. So here's Gary Pettis. with Macklemore at first. Oh, I don't need to do that because I already did that for the steal. All right, here's Pettis, 3-9 against Niedenfuhr. And a 3-9 for Pettis is a walk. I realize the right-hand side of the cards are probably sliding off a little bit, so if I get a 3 or a 6, I will move the cards over so you can see them. But I don't want to cover up what's already there either. So, all right, so we got first and second now with one out for Wally World, Wally Joyner. Absolutely, Dan, absolutely. Don't let anybody discourage anything on that. Keep them coming. All right, here is Joyner. 3-9 for Joyner against the right-hander. That's a fly to center, 2 down. So 2 away, and it's up to Brian Downing. Brian Downing. Well, we got a leaner, plus I needed to roll the D20 anyway. The Havoc roll, forgot to do that, so let's do that now. Now we'll get it straight. 1-8 for Downing, and that is a strikeout by Niedenfuhr. So Niedenfuhr is going to pitch 1 inning, strike out 2. Did issue a walk and give up a single, but no runs, which was the more important part. And now we go to the bottom of the 9th, last chance for the Orioles. And Mike Witt still has full endurance. He has given up nothing in these last 2 innings. Due up for the Orioles will be Kennedy, Sheets, and a pinch hitter for Rick Burleson. So we look at the Oriole bench, and this is who they have available. The most likely pinch hitter would be Mike Young because he is a switch hitter. They also have Alan Wiggins, Ken Gerhart, Rene Gonzalez, and backup catcher Dave Van Gorder. But I believe it's going to be Mike Young who is going to pick up a bat and hit for Rick Burleson. So it is going to be Kennedy, Sheets, and Young, your scheduled hitters for the Orioles, as Young will pinch hit when it's his turn, or when it's Burleson's turn. So Young will pinch hit in the 9th, and if it goes extra innings, they have Alan Wiggins to play second base, or Rene Gonzalez can play second base. So there's multiple guys that can play second base. Right now, Witt, and in the Angel bullpen, just in case, they do have Donnie Moore loosening in their bullpen. He is, quote-unquote, the closer. Here's Kennedy. Against Witt, 3-9 for Kennedy. 3-9 is a split chance. 1-7 is a single, but that's a 17, so he lines it to Mr. Macklemore at second base, 1 away. Mike Witt going for that complete game. Let's see if he had how many complete games he had in real world in 1987. If I look at his stats, does it give complete games? The computer won't give it to me the way I'm looking at it now. I probably got to go to the main screen for that. So I don't see anything there. Oh, well. Not that important. Here's Sheets. Whoa, I missed it. That 1d6 did not go through, so I'm going to try it again. We get a 4-6 left-handed, and that's a strikeout. There's a dot there, but he hasn't reached fatigue. He hasn't given up anything to reach fatigue. And that is the 9th strikeout for Mike Witt. Seems like he's getting stronger than more tired. So Mike Young, the pinch hitter, will bring him on to pinch hit for Rick Burleson. Young does have some power, so he is capable of tying the game with one swing of the bat. On the replay, Mike Young is hitting 208, a homer and 2 driven in. He hit 240 real world with 16 home runs and 363 at bats. But you can see on his card, he's got some ballpark. Like column 3 has got some good stuff there, if he can find his column 3. But he's also a switch hitter, so Mike Witt has some ballpark blast on his left-hand side in column 6. So multiple options there. That's a leaner, so I'm going to re-roll that because that 3 and that 6 were leaning. So let's look at it again. That's a 3-7 for Mike Young, but he's going to find a strikeout, and that's going to do it. Mike Witt ends the game in style with his 10th strikeout of the game, and the Angels win it 4-3. And the poor Orioles drop to 17-28. They get a 3-0 lead and can't hold it. The winning pitcher, of course, is Mike Witt with the complete game. The loser is, unfortunately for him, Mark Williamson, as he pitched 3 good innings but takes the loss. He drops to 3-2 on the replay. Mike Witt, the winner, goes to 5-2. 9 innings pitched, 6 hits, 3 runs, all earned, 3 walks, and 10 strikeouts. So Mike Witt, maybe we'll give Mike Witt the player of the game. I'm not sure who else you would give it to. So we'll give it to Mike Witt for his complete game outing. Mike Witt. So, game 304 is in the books. California improves to 21-24. Baltimore drops to 17-28. Final line score, California 4 runs, 10 hits, and no errors. Orioles 3 runs, 6 hits, and no errors. Angels left 8 on base. Orioles left 6 on base. As we look ahead to tomorrow's game in Toronto, it'll be the Oakland A's and the Toronto Blue Jays. Good matchup. Toronto is in first place in the East. They're actually a game ahead of Baltimore and a half game ahead of the Yankees. They are at 28-14, and Oakland is in first place in the West, 24-19. So battle of first place teams tomorrow morning. However, the pitching matchup leaves something to be desired. It is going to be Moose Haas. The Moose will be loose in Toronto. It'll be Moose Haas against Joe Johnson. So we're not exactly getting Jimmy Key against Dave Stewart, but you play them as they are on the schedule, and that's what they have. So that'll be the game tomorrow. Hopefully back to the 9:00 p.m. right on the dot schedule if the computer doesn't freak out and cause me to redo it. Of course, I got my coffee here all ready to go for some more coffee drinking as I clean up stuff on the computer and get ready for the next and fill out my score sheet for the next game. I always like to fill out for tomorrow's game. When I finish this stream, before I do anything else, before I even get up, I do the score sheet for the next game so it's all ready to go. That way, in case I forget, I'm not scrambling in the morning trying to get it done. So thank you. Thank you for all of you for being here for this Tuesday morning American League replay. Don't forget tonight, if you're so interested in season ticket baseball, it'll be game 6 of the 1978 World Series between the Dodgers and the Yankees. Ron Guidry against Tommy John. And what I do to get ready, let me move my coffee out of the way. I have my box here. Let me move this dice tray out of the way as well. Have my box here. And inside the box is all my envelopes for the 1987 season for my teams. I got my ballpark effects. So I pull those out. You see Toronto has a 1-9 and 1-11 on the ballparks chances for them. So I go and find Toronto, which is right here. Got Toronto. And I go and find Oakland, which is right here. So we've got Oakland and Toronto all ready to go. LA is leading 3-2. Yes, Dan. Yankees have to win in order to make a game 7. That is correct. So and I'll put the other cards back away in their proper spots, but I should have them a little bit neater. I shouldn't just stack. I should have them stacked up maybe in a row or whatever, but a lot of times I'm just on the fly and I'm just like, hey, let's just roll here. And of course, underneath all this is they don't sell these anymore in Strat. They should. The old cardboard, super advanced sheets. See, there's no crimps in these. These are cardboard. These are made of the same material pretty much. Actually, a little bit stronger, I think, than the advanced fielding charts are. They're, like I said, you can hear the cardboard in these things. So I bought those. They were $5 back a couple years ago. Bought them for $5, and I use them when I'm playing on my own, and I have these standing up, and that way I don't have to sit there and flip through them. I've got one, got them on both sides, and I'm ready to go. So that's just a little sneak into what I do before I get ready. So what I'll do is as soon as I sign off, I will go ahead and start filling. I'll basically take this sheet here that we just had, peel it off, flip it over, and start writing in the game for game number 305, right? So it's game 305. It's going to be the next game. And we're going to be in Toronto. And lefties and righties are the same for both, so I don't have to worry about doing the left-right thing. I will put in Exhibition Stadium. And of course, with Toronto, it says 1-9 for singles and 1-11 for home runs. So there you go. And I'll just fill that in after everything is done. So again, thank you all for spending part of your Tuesday morning with me. And thank you all for Kathy especially and Chuck there at the end for the trivia. Always good to challenge the brain there. But again, thank you for everybody for participating. And for those that are watching later, don't want to leave you out either. Thank you for stopping by and catching it on demand. So again, tonight, if you're interested, 9 o'clock Eastern, Game 6 of the 1978 World Series on Season Ticket Baseball, Yankees and the Dodgers. And tomorrow morning will be Oakland and Toronto. From Toronto, will be the Oakland A's and the Toronto Blue Jays. Oakland 24-19, and Toronto 28-14. But not a great pitching matchup. Moose Haas and Joe Johnson. But that'll be the game tomorrow. And looking ahead, once the real-life World Series teams are determined, I will take, because I did create these cards in History Maker Baseball already. They're ready to go. I've got the cards for all the players that are in the playoffs. They're all ready to go. So if it's Seattle and the Dodgers, or Seattle, Milwaukee, or Toronto, the Dodgers, whoever it happens to be, I will play the World Series on History Maker Baseball the day after each game. So I'm not going to do a pre-play. I'm going to play it with the actual lineups that were used and the actual starting pitchers, and we'll see how close History Maker Baseball can come to the actual results. So thank you all for being here and joining me on my 1987 journey. So until next time, until tonight, if you're so interested, or tomorrow morning, if you're only interested in Strat, enjoy playing whatever game you choose to play, however you choose to play it, and I will see you all down the road.